Beyond Lemuria is a fictional drama based upon allegedly true accounts. The producers have made every effort to present this material in a factual context without compromising the security of our contributors or revealing the identities of our sources. All persons, institutions, agencies, and authorities presented have been fictionalized. Any connection to actual persons, institutions, agencies, and authorities is not implied and should not be assumed. The producers will accept no responsibility for anyone who disappears, is injured, or is mentally affected while attempting to investigate the phenomena depicted in this film.
Ayoiviei, Naiso Kapamali, Amnema Yalasa Pujo, Yalapreji, Ozandangan Karakso Pilsen, Olpiret do Pereji, Vohimgiz Yaks Od Ors Mirk Kauski, Bainapar, Zonimive Pujo, Uanan Molap Uniglag, Parajil Zatabges, Orochakauski, Hua Teloa. Od Kriprias Gahalano, Omax Ananel, Ama Omil.
In darkness you may find the light, or beyond the light you may discover darkness. For in truth you cannot have one without the other. The choice must always be yours.
shaver mystery of the 1940s, and the mysterious Lemurians of California's Mount Shasta. Controversial subjects these days, especially here at UCF. Is there some basis in fact in these fantasies? Are such things even possible? I'm Dr. Marion Rowland from the Anthropology Department, and this is an interdepartmental graduate and faculty symposium on modern American occult themes relating to the recent book co-authored by a distinguished member of our faculty, Dr. Leslie M. Pearson of the Physics Department. For those of you who have not yet read this book, I'll read the publisher's promotional copy on the cover. Contacting worlds parallel to our own, the remarkable Intragravitron Project, Interdimensional Convergence Points by Leslie M. Pearson and Zoltan Nodescu, the most sensational discovery since the voyage of Columbus, scientific proof that we are not alone in the universe and that intelligent aliens are as close to us as our next-door neighbors. Now, I don't care how politically correct and how liberal you folks are, believe me, these aliens are not people you want to have for your next-door neighbors. We will begin with the physical evidence for a highly advanced ancient civilization that may once have existed on a continent now submerged beneath the waters of the Pacific Ocean. But did such an ancient prehistoric lost civilization ever really exist way out in the Pacific Ocean? I think it probably did, and we have evidence to prove it. The graduate students in our department have put together a video presentation. Dim the lights and roll the tape. In 1988, I visited Ponape Island in the Federation of Micronesia in the Central Pacific. I went there to survey the Cyclopean ruins of an ancient stone city that may be the remains of a submerged empire older than Atlantis. My survey confirmed that the ancient architects who had built this great stone city possessed the power to overcome the force of gravity. Keep in mind that gravity is the only force that passes through dimensional barriers, according to the latest theories in quantum physics.
This is a part of non-Madol that most people never see. This is what could be referred to as Cyclopean architecture. It's not headers and spreaders like non-Duas. This is just absolutely huge megalithic blocks.
There is no way such massive stones could have been moved across the shallow flats and then stacked in such a manner, even with today's heaviest construction equipment. But the greatest mystery of non-Madol lies underwater. Ponapean legend tells us that the sunken ruins of a city built 12,000 years ago lie submerged deep in the lagoon below non-Madol's grim and silent walls. A legend? A myth? Perhaps not. 10 years after my survey, in 1998, two members of our department, Mark Nelson and Marlene Eckhart, visited Ponape during the few weeks of the year that the visibility in the waters of the lagoon at non-Madol is clear enough for underwater photography. This remarkable footage, taken by Mark Nelson at a depth of 80 feet, shows the same decorative motif on the corner of this submerged wall that we see on the four corners of the non-Duas temple at non-Madol above the surface. Remember, 12,000 years ago, during the Ice Age, the sea level around the world was well over 100 feet lower than it is today. You could walk from Ireland to France and not get your feet wet. In 1966, Professor Charles Hapgood published his book, Maps of the Ancient Sea Kings, Evidence of an Advanced Civilization in the Ice Age. Hapgood's extensive research on ancient nautical charts led to the irrefutable conclusion that a highly advanced civilization had existed on our planet over 15,000 years ago. It disappeared almost without a trace. What happened to these ancient people? The Shaver mystery of the 1940s presents a nightmarish view of a subterranean world in which mutated survivors of Lemuria, called Darrows, inhabit a vast ancient network of caverns under our feet. Caverns where long-range ray machines brought to Earth by the elder gods from outer space are still in working order, and used by these cave dwellers to seduce surface people with sexual fantasies of satanic orgies, reminiscent of the medieval witches' Sabbath. Reminiscent of the medieval witches' Sabbath. They also used these telepathic ray machines to torment, abduct, and even kill surface people, driving them insane, inflicting strokes, epilepsy, and even spontaneous human combustion, that terrifying phenomenon which confounds even our most ardent skeptics. Richard S. Shaver's accounts of post-Lemurian cavern dwellers draws support from worldwide traditions of myth, legend, and folklore, long-held beliefs in gnomes, trolls, fairies, fallen angels, and the medieval demons of an underground hell, along with the modern cosmic horrors of another visionary writer, Howard Phillips Lovecraft, and his extraterrestrial demon god of the deep, Cthulhu. Years before Shaver revealed his mystery, Lovecraft had written these prophetic words: "The old ones were, the old ones are, and the old ones shall be, not in the spaces men know, but between them." In other words, in another dimension. Richard S. Shaver died in 1975, still believing in the truth of his subterranean world. Recently, there has been a revival of interest in his ideas, and the Shaver mystery has been covered in several contemporary works. He is now recognized as a prophetic surrealist painter. His amazing artworks were created by projecting patterns through slices of rock and then rendering them into chaotic visions from his antediluvian Hades. The Shaver mystery was not a hoax as far as Shaver was concerned. It was a warning. Professor Hapgood had established that during the Ice Age, the Earth's crust shifted 2,000 miles, with the Western Hemisphere sliding south, while the Eastern Hemisphere slid northward. Dr. Dan Fowler is the head of our geology department here at UCF and the author of the forthcoming book, The Catastrophic Event. We caught up with Dr. Fowler out in the Baja California desert where we taped this interview.
This catastrophic event was caused by the passing of a significantly massive celestial body. When this body came by, this is significantly more massive than any gravitational field that you would have off the moon. It was causing bulges in the crust of the Earth, caused cracks in probably most of the tectonic plates. Hapgood's comments about the 2,000-mile shift, he was probably correct. Odds are he was off on his timing. Instead of taking, say, 2,000 years, there's a very good indication that it took days, maybe even hours or minutes.
Scientists have only one plausible explanation for the widely dispersed, flash-frozen bodies of woolly mammoths that have been found all across northern Asia. For these animals to have been frozen in this manner, with undigested food still in their stomachs, sudden temperatures of 150 degrees below zero would have been required. This could only be affected by the close pass of a large celestial body, initiating the continental shift and causing a long rip in the Earth's mantle, followed by a massive underwater volcanic eruption when the oceans poured into the crevasse and hit the molten magma. The steam clouds rising into the absolute zero cold of outer space would then blanket the upper reaches of the northern hemisphere, and the descending hail would flash freeze any creature in its tracks. The comet or rogue planet that must have caused this ancient catastrophe might be that same Planet X that accounts for the solar system's orbital anomalies and, according to the Mayan long count calendar, returns every 5,125 years to bring destruction and usher in a new age. But what about the human survivors of this highly advanced Ice Age prehistoric civilization we know existed? The sudden 2,000-mile shift of the continental plates literally wrenched the cavern network inhabited by the descendants of Lemuria and Atlantis, Shavers, Darrows, into another dimension where they still live to this day. Leslie M. Pearson, an expert in the field of particle acceleration and gravity wave detection, came to UCF from the famous LIGO project. He teamed up with Romanian scientist Zoltan Nodescu to create a machine hundreds of years ahead of its time, an instrument that can open portals into other dimensions that parallel our world. Dr. Pearson was not available for comment when this video was produced, but we were able to obtain a satellite transmission of a recent London television interview with Zoltan Nodescu.
The intragravitron is an interdimensional gravity wave accelerator. Gravity is the only force that passes between dimensions. Therefore, when we find convergence points between the caves of our world and the caverns of the subterranean world, we can establish contact. We can even open a vortex through which we could send explorers into inner space. Our scientific data and our experiments were very well documented. But if anyone still has doubts, the final confirmation comes from the United States government itself. The project is now classified top secret, and you can be sure that this interview will not be shown on American network television.
As outlandish as this seems, the government is apparently very interested in the project, and major funding from anonymous private sources has been provided.
As you are all no doubt aware, the theories and the data presented in this book have been seriously challenged by the rest of the scientific community. In their final experiment, something went terribly wrong, and Dr. Leslie Pearson suffered a massive stroke, which rendered him speechless and paralyzed from the neck down. His colleague, Dr. Zoltan Nodescu, has disappeared, and the publisher has withdrawn the book from circulation. Doctor.
I knew Leslie Pearson rather well. We often discussed esoteric philosophy in relation to his theories. I happen to know that he was a long-term practitioner of Hermetic yoga, which is reputed to develop one's so-called psychic powers. He confided to me that the intergravitron machine that he and Nodescu developed required psychic ability on the part of the operator in order to control the communication with this other dimension. Now, with all due respects to Leslie, especially after what's happened to him, he might just as well had used a crystal ball, and it certainly would have been safer. How can we possibly call these dangerous mind games scientific experiments?
Well, we can't, unless we're willing to think and act outside of our limited scientific box.
I'm William Morgan. I'm a graduate student in physics. I was on Dr. Pearson's team when he was doing his original experiments, up until he brought on Dr. Nadescu. I wasn't on that last cave expedition, but I do know something about the intergravitron. It is based on a technology that is way beyond our reach. That's why the operator needs special mental abilities.
Can you elaborate on that, Bill?
Well, I can't say too much, but let's face it. Right now, we're wiring up paraplegics so they can operate computers with their brains. And next year, they'll be doing it wireless. So you're not going to operate a machine like the intragravitron with a keyboard or a mouse. You grab on with both hands, hold on, and think hard.
That's a very good point. That's a good place to take a break. In the next hour, we'll move on to the spiritually advanced Lemurians on the slopes of majestic and mysterious Mount Shasta, and the Darrows, who are rumored to inhabit Satan's cavern under Mount Shasta's desolate northern lava flows.
Yes, Mary. Yeah, I'm at the symposium.
Bill, please, come over here right away. I've just finished reading Les's journal. I want you to get this book out of here tonight.
My car's still in the shop, but I'm a few blocks away. I'll walk fast, okay?
Please hurry, Bill. Everything in the house is shorting out. The TV, the microwave, the toaster. I'm scared.
Okay, sit tight, Mary. I'm on my way.
Morgan's on his way over to Pearson's now. He's walking.
Yeah, Mary. Yeah, I'm at the house. Why? What? My God. My God. Yes, Venerable.
Brother Morgan, follow my instructions. Don't touch anything in the house.
Turn around and walk toward the door. Now take your shirt sleeve
And wipe your fingerprints off the doorknob. Now walk, don't run.
toward the street. You will see a black SUV parked at the curb. Get in. That order medallion is not authorized for serving brethren. Take it off and put on your steward's uniform.
Hajime. No, Zoltan, I won't go back into those caves. Never again.
Leslie, I'm not forcing you to go. I can't make you do anything. Leslie, just one more time. And the recognition, the fame, and the money will all be yours. One more time.
Zoltan, those creatures are downright evil.
They are not evil. They are different. And they have more to fear from us than we have from them. That is why they wear those strange masks. They try to appear mysterious and menacing because they are weak and fearful themselves. They hide down in the caverns because they are afraid. We can help them, and we can learn so much from them.
How do you know all this?
In Eastern Europe, we have factual scientific records of this hidden subterranean world that have not yet been translated into English. That is why I contacted you last year. That is why I knew we could work together. Your intragravitron and my cold fusion power orb. Together, we did it. We opened the portal. And now you want to throw it all away.
I can't tell Mary. I guess she'll just have to find out about it later. I promised her I'd never go back into those caves.
Don't worry about Mary. Even if she gets all burnt up about it, you'll still have the glory and the money.
Brother Morgan, as a neophyte, you are not yet privileged to share in the secret council. You will retire to the kitchen, prepare our refreshment, and return to service when you are summoned. Brother Master at Arms, what is the hour?
Midnight, Venerable Magister.
Then let us make affirmation. The Draconian is beyond good and evil. The Draconian understands that illusion is reality, and that form is the great deceiver. The Draconian makes his own law. Nothing is real, and everything is permitted. The dragons ruled of old, and they shall rule again, for they dwell within the roots of our brains, and are the wellsprings of our passions. The meek may inherit the earth, but to the strong belong the stars. So mote it be.
So mote it be.
I now declare this lodge to be in session. Madam Secretary, you will read a summary of our last meeting.
Venerable Magister and honored brothers, Dr. X gave us a preliminary report on the new intragravitron bench test using another impervious orb from South Africa as the power source. He explained to us that ancient elder technology is too many generations in advance of our present state of development for us to employ any of our power supplies or interfaces currently available. However, he said Professor Nodescu had confirmed in his private notes that the prehistoric South African artifacts, called the impervious orbs, operating on the cold fusion principle, would generate sufficient energy to power up the machine and activate the imaging field, which Dr. X hoped to demonstrate at this meeting.
Thank you, Sister Lilith. Have you any additions or corrections, Dr. X?
No, but I do appreciate Colonel Rich's complaint concerning the problems he's had in obtaining a second orb for us.
It took more than money this time.
But we couldn't operate without it. Nodescu proved that. It would be like trying to operate a television set without electricity.
Television sets don't leave people paralyzed from the neck down.
I was there when it happened. Pearson became emotionally disturbed. That stroke was apoplexy, an embolism.
Emotionally disturbed?
Well, he was psychic.
Actually, it couldn't have come at a better time. Pearson was about to lose his security clearance.
But we do need someone with psychic abilities to operate the intergravitron. I permitted young William Morgan to volunteer.
Morgan's perfect. If he turns into a vegetable, we can just say he was a college kid with a drug problem. Don't write that down.
You just want to get rid of him because he's young and he's cute.
Actually, Brother Morgan will be pleased to know that we all approve of his offer to help us out. For now, let us get back to our infernal machine. Dr. X, is it safe to turn it on?
As long as you don't register more than 200 milliroentgens per hour, I think we'll be safe.
What if it does?
According to Mr. Shaver, that's how Darrows got to be Darrows.
Well, I never wanted to be bothered with children anyway.
Proceed with the demonstration, Doctor.
About 250 milliroentgens per hour. We can live with that.
Da Nodescu. Govino da Nodescu. Da Nodescu. Govino da Nodescu. Kebla Black. Zebra.
That doesn't sound like Romanian.
It is not. It is Enochian.
Da Nodescu. Govino da Nodescu. Kebla Black.
Good evening, Dr. X. Greetings, most venerable Brother Abaddon, and the intrepid Colonel beautiful, Sister Lilith. It appears that once again we are about to open the ancient portal between the worlds. I wish I could be there with you, but as you know, I have had to leave your great nation and return to my native land. Now, as you have probably determined, your nearest and most accessible interdimensional convergence point is Satan's Cavern, beneath the lava fields north of legendary Mount Shasta. I suggest that you proceed with your expedition as quickly as possible before the gate is sealed. But be assured that you are the chosen ones, especially delicious Sister Lilith. Recall, my dear, that the medieval Luciferians believed that under the surface of the earth, the Dark Lord ruled supreme, and nothing was forbidden. In the cavern world, there are ancient secrets of power and pleasure that only those who are willing to explore the depths are entitled to experience. Good hunting.
Good girls go to heaven, and bad girls go everywhere else.
We'll keep that in mind, delicious Sister Lilith.
You told us that the operator had to have psychic powers. How is it that we all received Nodescu just now?
Anyone can receive, but you must be a psychic to transmit. Your mind must be completely linked to this machine, and that's when it's really dangerous.
Max, did you get a fix on him?
We've located him somewhere on the California-Oregon border at 18,000 feet.
There are no mountains that high in that area, Max.
That's 18,000 feet below sea level, Colonel.
Did you learn where his transmission is from?
He is not in Romania.
And Dorothy Gale is not in Kansas. Brothers and sister, I believe we can call this a success. Now, let us summon the young William Morgan, and I will inform him of the honor we are about to bestow upon him. Neophyte.
Yes, most venerable master.
We have discussed your offer to operate the intergravitron for us, and I am pleased to inform you that your request has been unanimously approved.
I am honored, most venerable master.
As well you should be. You are assigned to Dr. X as his personal assistant. You are not to leave the premises, and you are not to contact anyone. Is that understood?
Yes, most venerable.
Then we will drink to your success. Taba oris, preyas are tabas, adra pan korsta dobits. So it is written. So mote it be. You are dismissed. Colonel, you mentioned that there were only 2 days before the army engineers sealed up Satan's Cavern. Is there any possibility that the demolition can be delayed?
You told me you had an ancient map of the caverns that showed exactly where the convergence points were located.
I keep it with me and study it often.
Where did you get that map, Abaddon?
When I became Grand Master, certain documents came into my possession. This was one of them. This map is the reason why we have funded Dr. Pearson's intragravitron experiments. But the instructions on the map are in Enochian, faded with age, as you can see. This parchment was recopied in the 17th century by a Spanish monk from a much earlier version, which has long since disappeared. So we have no idea how many mistakes may have occurred during the transcription. There are ambiguities, and we may have to explore alternative underground locations.
You should have told me that 2 weeks ago. Max, we may have a problem. The civilians aren't sure they can find the location in 12 hours. They say they need more time underground.
We'd have to let DOD in on it. That raises the profile on the project. I'd rather keep it in-house.
Okay. I'll tell him. Max says he can get the Army to postpone it, but he'll have to go outside of the company to do it. Now the question is, just how many spook outfits do you want in on this?
Sometimes I think one is too many. We will leave in the morning as planned.
Max, negative on the postponement. I'll build a fire under him and get him moving. We're back on schedule. All right, people, 32 hours from now, the Army engineers are going to set off a ton of dynamite and seal up that hole forever. Pack up now. We load the Black Maria tonight and roll out of here at 0400 hours. You can sleep in shifts on the way up.
Welcome back to our symposium on Lemuria, Then and Now. In the previous hour, we covered the devilish doings of Richard Shaver's subterranean Darrows from the late 1940s, culminating in the recent interdimensional Shaver revival. Now, in this hour, we'll visit California's counterpart to Japan's sacred Mount Fujiyama, our own majestic, mysterious, and mystical Mount Shasta, which many occultists and mystics consider to be modern America's Mount Olympus, the home of the gods. Would you dim the lights and roll the Shasta section of the video?
Rising in isolated splendor in a remote and sparsely populated area of Northern California, just south of the Oregon border, Mount Shasta is a 14,000-foot-high dormant volcano that completely dominates the surrounding countryside. Standing alone in solitary grandeur, this snow-capped peak can be seen for 100 miles. Fasting and meditating high upon the slope of the holy mountain would bring a vision of the spirit guide, the soulmate, the perfect companion of one's dreams. The perfect companion of one's dreams. Perhaps the greatest treasure such mountains can give us, as we meditate upon their soaring snow-capped heights, is the opportunity to look deep within ourselves and find our own lost heritage re-emerging as Mother Earth and Father Sky are co-joined, and we recover long-forgotten memories of other times, other lands, perhaps in other lives we have lived. This certainly seems to be the case with Mount Shasta. Back in 1884, on the slopes of Mount Shasta, a 17-year-old boy named Frederick Spencer Oliver received a visionary contact from a mysterious Atlantean sage named Philos. Over the next 2 years, Philos dictated a remarkable story, which young Oliver faithfully transcribed. Philos's book was finally published at the end of the 19th century under the title A Dweller on Two Planets. Dweller on Two Planets was quite successful and remained in print ever since. Philos himself was initiated into the ancient Lothinian Brotherhood on the slopes of Mount Shasta in 1866 in his 19th century incarnation as a Civil War veteran and a mining engineer named Walter Pearson. The Master Philos became the archetype of Atlantean, Lemurian, and traditional mystic masters that spiritual pilgrims meet on the slopes of Mount Shasta even today. In 1935, Mount Shasta's connection with Lemuria was announced to the world in a book titled Lemuria, the Lost Continent of the Pacific, and subtitled The Mystery People of Mount Shasta. We were informed that shimmering Lemurian temples had appeared like mirages on the slopes of the mountain, and the tall, silent, majestically robed figures were sometimes encountered below the glaciers. Today, we have several psychics in the Shasta area who were in contact with Lemurian avatars who claim to reside in an underground city beneath the Holy Mountain. Whether or not you believe that Mount Shasta's Lemurians are a reality in our dimension or an astral presence on the inner planes, one thing seems to be certain. They are peaceful, kind, loving, and very wise.
In conclusion, Shaver's Darrows and the Lemurians of Mount Shasta can be interpreted on several levels as spiritual metaphors, archetypes in the collective unconscious, denizens of the occult inner planes, or creatures of higher and lower dimensions, coexisting with us in worlds very near but as yet invisible. In any case, it could be dangerous to ignore the Darrows, and it might mean the loss of a precious heritage to forget the Lemurians. Thank you. Questions?
What's the difference between Atlanteans and Lemurians anyway?
Well, a couple of million years with some overlap, but if you want to put it in cultural terms, the Lemurians are the hippies and the Atlanteans are the yuppies. Can you grok that?
Yeah, man, I grok it.
Hi, I'm William Morgan. I'm a grad student in comparative religion. Doc, you didn't mention that the Brotherhood of Master Philos still exists, and that we take a yearly pilgrimage up to Mount Shasta.
Yes, I am aware of that, Brother Bill. But I didn't mention it because Brother Philos can only accommodate a small number of students. Now, about that, I have good news and I have bad news. And the bad news is we got a 5-year waiting list. The good news is that this year I'm going to videotape the pilgrimage.
You have a question? I'm Frank Hogan, Physics Department. I knew Leslie Pearson,
Yes, Mary.
but I wasn't working with him on this.
Yeah, I'm at the symposium.
Bill, come over here right away. Les is trying to talk and he's trying to get up.
Have you called the doctor?
They can't reach him at home.
Well, my car's still in the shop, but I'm only a few blocks away. I can walk fast.
Thanks, Bill. I didn't know who else to call.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm on my way. I'm here, Mary.
I've been trying to hold him down. I'm afraid he'll fall.
No. God, I wish Master Philos was here.
I come in the power of the light. I come in the mercy of the light. And the light hath healing in its wings.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for calling, Brother William.
Are you real?
What does it matter, so long as I am real to your husband? Am I real, Brother Leslie? Are you ready to give that up? This must be destroyed. Put it in the fireplace.
I'll build a fire.
This requires a different kind of fire. In the name and power of the Archangel Michael, I summon Darjean, King of the Salamanders, to consume this knowledge, guard it forever in the fires of Tartarus.
Want to come with you to Mount Shasta.
Leslie, you have some recovering to do.
But I have to go with you.
We're leaving tomorrow. Too soon for you this time. Next year you will join us, I promise.
I just don't understand. Why are we bringing this TV evangelist along with us to Mount Shasta?
Well, Reverend Bobby John reaches a lot more people than we do. He claims 8 million viewers.
But we're philosophical and esoteric. We can't reach the kind of people he preaches to. They would never understand Master Phylos' teachings.
You're right about that, Bill. They wouldn't. But if we can get Bobby John up the holy mountain, maybe when he comes back down, he'll start preaching love instead of hate. I think the maestro can explain it better than I can.
Holy art thou, Lord of the universe. Holy art thou, whom nature hath not formed. Holy art thou, the vast and the mighty one, Lord of the light and of the darkness. Greetings, brothers.
Greetings,
Maestro.
Brother William, something is troubling you.
I'm really not happy about bringing Reverend Bobby John along on our spiritual retreat. He's totally out of harmony with us.
He is not only out of harmony with us, but indeed out of harmony with the loving light of the universe. When one struggles with too much passion against the darkness, he is in grave danger of losing the light. And in the case of the Reverend Bobby John, he could take millions along with him into the darkness.
Brother Bill, there's something we'd like you to see before the rest of the people get here. Would you follow us into the hermitage? Did you happen to see or hear that sermon that Bobby John gave at the convention center 2 weeks ago?
No, I missed that one.
Well, we got it on DVD. You are not going to believe what you are about to see. This is Reverend Rich at the top of his game.
Make no mistake, brothers and sisters, those degenerate, satanic, suicidal Arabs would never have succeeded in destroying the World Trade Center and murdering 3,000 Americans if God hadn't been looking the other way. And why was God looking the other way? Because America had fallen away from righteousness. Amen. Because America was no longer a God-fearing nation. Amen. Because America allowed and supported abortion, homosexual and lesbian marriage, pornography, paganism and witchcraft, and godless humanists teaching evo-pollution in our schools. Amen. while our sons and daughters are over in the lands of the infidel, fighting and dying for America, what are we doing here at home to make this once great nation worth their fighting and dying for? What are we doing to cleanse the filth that pours out of Hollywood and New York? What are we doing to keep the homosexuals, the lesbians, the abortionists, the pagans and the witches, the New Age Gnostics, and the godless humanists from corrupting the minds of our innocent children? I'll tell you what we're doing, brothers and sisters. We are on a holy crusade right here at home. We're not afraid of the apocalypse. We're the army of the Lord. We're gonna bring it on, and woe to the evildoers. The end time is near. We're all gonna go, but God will know his own. Amen. In these last days, we're going to drive out the sodomites and the idolaters and bring this country back to God. We are the righteous soul of this great nation, and the soul has found its voice. America is before us. America is behind us. We are America. Amen. Amen. Amen.
This guy ought to be locked up.
Or led to the light, like the Apostle Paul on the road to Damascus.
We have a confession to make, Brother Bill. We're magically engineering Bobby John's epiphany.
Every 5,000 years, there is a catastrophic cosmic event, and we enter into a new age. We have but 6 years to prepare for the end of this cycle, or we will again revert back to savagery, as we have done so many times in the past. So, we must bring our spiritual leaders to the one light of love that shines within us all, if we wish our civilization to survive.
But Rich is a mad dog. What did you do, give him a rabies shot?
Something like that. I'm sure he'll tell us all about it when he gets here.
Welcome to the Lothinian Brotherhood and Sisterhood. This year, our annual pilgrimage will be documented on video by our brother and distinguished scholar, Dr. Marion Rowland.
I'm not going to be intruding. Now, remember, I'm an anthropologist, not a journalist. So just be yourselves, relax, and pretend I'm not even here.
Please don't be intimidated by his camera. Actually, it is less intrusive than the eyes and ears of God. At least, you can keep your thoughts to yourselves. Let's introduce ourselves. I am called Brother Philos. Of course, once I had a mundane name and an ordinary upbringing. Actually, I have a long succession of mundane names and ordinary upbringings. But sooner or later, I always end up being Brother Philos.
Hi, I'm Lila Vallis. I suppose you could call me a spiritual seeker. I'm also a psychic and a vegetarian, and I'm into goddess worship. I really care about Mother Earth and ecology. I believe that back in prehistoric times, there's a lost civilization that lived in harmony with nature. I know they were more peaceful and loving and tolerant than we are today. I've joined many New Age and pagan groups, but each time I have to admit, I've been disappointed. I think my vision is just too personal to match up with anyone else's. But I've read that there's an ancient Lemurian vortex somewhere up on Mount Shasta, and the word Lemuria really resonates with me. It's like calling me home.
There is a saying that home is where the heart is. And in your case, Lila, you may say, home is where your soul has been.
I'm Xavier Jones, a scientist and still somewhat of a skeptic. But I was forced to give up a high-paying position at a nuclear weapons lab because I was having these vivid, horrible nightmares of a worldwide atomic war. But this wasn't a war in the future. It was a war in the past. It was as if I were remembering something from thousands of years ago. And how many, I can't say. However, I'm not the first atomic physicist to be haunted by such a memory, if we can call it a memory. Robert Oppenheimer, the father of the atomic bomb, believed that people on Earth today are survivors of an ancient nuclear war. Besides being an atomic physicist, Oppenheimer was also a scholar of Sanskrit and Hindu mythology, wherein he read of terrible wars in the ancient past, thus confirming his present theories. I know I have to learn to live with the truth for myself, and I can live with the truth, but I can't go on living with these awful dreams. When I was over in India last year, I discussed this with a Hindu yogi. I asked him where I could go to learn more about this ancient civilization. He smiled, somewhat sadly, and said, "Go home to California and climb Mount Shasta." And so, here I am.
A very wise Chinese gentleman once gave me the same advice many, many years ago. I'll tell you that story when we reach our sacred grove at the snow line of the mountain.
I'm William Morgan. I'm working on my doctorate in comparative religions at UCF, and I am writing my dissertation on sacred mountains in world religions. It's based on the idea that all through history, mystics have been climbing sacred mountains to find God and discover the secrets of the universe. But I'm not so sure that's the right path anymore. Today, with everything that's going on in quantum physics, it seems that it's our scientists who are making the most significant discoveries to the nature of the cosmos. I'm still hoping that this ancient philosophy that we study is relevant in this modern age, and that the enlightenment that we seek is more than just self-delusion. I'm hoping the mountain keeps her promise.
The mountain will keep her promise if you keep the promise you made to yourself. Namaste.
I'm Reverend Bobby John Rich of the National Crusade. Last month, Professor Rowland was interviewing me in my office when my secretary, a fine, God-fearing woman who has been helping me to do the Lord's work for many years, all of a sudden starts speaking in a strange language.
Neis o darbis mada, fapire adroak sobal, neis etharze, gay ne deluga nonka yad namai.
I knew she spoke in tongues, but this was different. It was slow and deliberate, like we were supposed to understand every word. Dr. Rowland had his tape recorder going the whole time. He told us that the language was actually an ancient angelic tongue called Enochian, named after the biblical prophet Enoch. Dr. Rowland made a translation of the tape. It said that I was to meet the Lord and Master up on Mount Shasta. Now, Bobby John's mother didn't raise a fool. I had my research department check up on that Enochian language. It dates back to Shakespeare's time. It was written down by a God-fearing gentleman named John Dee, but it was channeled by a black-hearted sinner named Edward Kelly. Ever since that time, it's been used by wizards and warlocks in their rituals. So if the devil's up there on that mountain waiting for me, I'm going to whip him. But if the Lord's up there, I'm going to praise him. Either way, I wouldn't miss it.
Let us hope that the mountain fulfills your expectations, whatever they may be. And now, before we leave for the airport, let us recall the ancient laws of Atlantis in the days before the eternal flame vanished from the great temple at Poseidonis. You will recall that Plato described a 10-sided pillar on which the laws were inscribed. Here you see a replica of that pillar, with the oath around the top and the laws in Enochian on each of the 10 sides. You will also notice the circular pattern of the star map. This is the plan of Poseidonis, the capital city of the ancient Atlantis. Observe how it perfectly divides the zodiac into 4 quarters. Herein lies a mystery that I look forward to sharing with you in the future. I will read the oath and the laws in Enochian. You may respond in English.
Gesorza adna pugologa, mirk natsperi.
We swear obedience unto the word of God upon the holy pillar.
Abu apri donela.
Serve the all-powerful one.
Yaya dixananael.
Honor wisdom.
We cremeditoria besa.
Sing the praises of beauty.
Liorax corstadobix.
Comfort the fallen.
So mote it be.
So mote it be.
Is this the way to avoid obeying the 10 Commandments?
Not at all. But wouldn't it be much easier for us to obey those 10 thou shalt nots if we first strove to accomplish these 10 thou shalts?
We're all sinners. We need rules.
Yes, but rules won't grant us love, compassion, and wisdom. These qualities cannot be imposed from without. They must arise from within. And now we must arise and go to the airport, because the mountain will not fly to us. Therefore, we must fly to the mountain. Namaste. The God within me salutes the God within you.
Battery Tango in 21012, clear to land. Go ahead.
Oh, there's Mount Shasta.
Fasting is all well and good, but at 10,000 feet up the mountain, I think it advisable to stop for a light repast.
I'm sure there's a diner up here not too far ahead.
I feel like I just saw myself.
Perhaps you did. We are all reflections of each other.
I think I just saw myself.
Form is the great deceiver. Be not deceived.
It is said that the lava flows all the way from the north side of Shasta to the Oregon border. And legend has it that an Indian could run all the way to the Oregon border without ever having to come to the surface.
Magister, you never did tell us what the treasure was.
Whatever the Spaniards expected to find, or whatever you expect it to be.
Look at the rainbow. There must be a pot of gold.
If that's what you expect to find.
Authentication for aardvark is Armadillo. Go ahead, Max.
I've got the whole 9 yards on Nadescu for you. He was an Obergruppenführer in the Romanian Gestapo during World War II. Quite a reputation. They called him the Beast of Bucharest. In 1945, he disappeared into the caverns near Lake Zirchenitz in Transylvania.
Hold on, Max. I've seen this guy. He can't be that old.
He's 107 years old, Colonel.
How in hell does he manage to look so young?
baby blood. They steal kids from our side of the vortex. They've been doing it for thousands of years.
Ah, the fountain of youth.
Some of us have children, Colonel. That's not funny.
Wait here.
The engineers are going to blast and seal the entrance at 0800 tomorrow morning, Colonel. You and your people should be out of there by sunrise.
I'm sure you can remember to forget that we were here.
That's what they pay me for, Colonel.
Okay, people, pick it up and put it on. We've got to hike over that rock pile and get underground before sundown. Move it out.
Isn't there supposed to be a sign over the entrance?
Abandon all hope, ye who enter here. But Dante equated hope with salvation, and I abandoned that long ago. Let us descend.
Max.
Yeah, Colonel. I've got you.
Okay, we're on the site.
Are you down in a cave?
No, I'm still above ground.
Call me when you get down there.
I'll call you in 10 minutes.
The Pentagon guys want to know how the Dazzler works on our little friends. When you see one, give them a flash.
No problem. I'll get back to you.
How long has this been here?
250,000 years.
I think we're being watched.
They know we're here. But where is Colonel Rich?
Master at Arms!
Coming, Venerable.
We must observe the ancient tradition. Pluto magnanimous, whose realms profound are fixed beneath the firm and solid ground, in Tartarian plains remote from sight, and wrapped forever in the depths of night. Earth's keys to thee, illustrious king, belong, its secret gates unlocking deep and strong. Thy throne is fixed in Hades' dismal plains, distant, unknown to rest, where darkness reigns, where destitute of breath, pale specters dwell in endless dire, inexorable hell.
You fool! Do you want to get us all killed?
Having put on the completely armed vigor of resounding light, he must put into the mind the various symbols and not walk so disparately in the Imperium path, but with concentration, for being furnished with every kind of armor and armed, he is like unto the goddess. Explore the river of the soul, whence or in what order you have come, so that although you have become a servant of the body, you may once again rise to the order from which you descended, joining works unto the sacred reason. Let me tell you about the first time I reached this very spot many, many years ago. When I was a Civil War veteran, I tried to get as far away from the battlefields as I could. I took up a job as a mining engineer in the Mount Shasta area of California. One of the Chinese coolies working for the company spoke little English. But as he had an affinity with animals, I signed him on as a mule skinner. After Kwong had pacified a raging grizzly bear that was tearing up our camp, my respect for him reached a level where he thought he could reveal himself to me. In perfect English, he explained that he was a Wu master, a Taoist magician. He told me that I must go alone to a certain spot high on the slopes of Mount Shasta, and there I would find the mystic temple of the ancient Lothinian order. I didn't have any idea what he meant by all of that, but I knew he was a man of great learning, and then there was something in his voice and in his eyes that compelled me to follow his directions. I reached this little grove and looked up toward the mountain, and then I saw it, a shimmering vision of mystery rising up from the black rocks and white snow. The temple. As I walked toward it, the vision became less ethereal, more solid, more real. The great bronze doors swung open, and I entered. And at that moment, I became Philos, the Atlantean. I remembered Atlantis. I remembered Lemuria. I remembered the miracle of the unfed light. And I remembered the horror that descended upon us when it vanished. And the sons of Belial the dragon ruled in darkness. And the law of one was forgotten. Oh yes, I remembered. The beings we seek to contact are not friendly toward humans. They can control our thoughts and drive our passions over the brink of ecstasy into the depths of madness. So, be on guard.
I think those stem rays might be kind of fun.
Unendurable pleasure? I think we can find a market for that. Have you counted 301 paces from the last switchback?
No, more like 275. I'm 6 feet tall, and in 1697, the average Spaniard wasn't much over 5 feet, shorter stride. So, I think this is the place. We have arrived. We will assemble our machine here. You're the operator, Brother Morgan.
Be careful.
The treasure! The treasure!
Stand still, Morgan.
But the gold!
Take off your glasses. There is no gold. You see that rock beneath your feet? Dig it up. There's your treasure, Morgan. Form is the great deceiver. Now, back to the machine.
Through me flows a river of unlimited love.
Through me flows a river of unlimited love. Through me flows
Pagan mumbo jumbo.
O great spirit of this holy place, great ancestor of us all, we call thee from the distant ages past and future lives unborn. Remind us of the tragic errors of our ancient forebears, so that we may not repeat them.
I am Semyaza, first among those whom you call the fallen angels. We were the elder gods of your myths, the Elohim of your scripture. We were the titans in the Atlantis, the founders of Lemuria and Atlantis, the giants in the earth. We advanced your intelligence. We evolved you to serve our needs. We taught you the rudiments of science, but not the refinements of philosophy. We gave you knowledge, but not wisdom. When the world tottered on its axis with the coming of the Dark Star, many of us fled outward to distant worlds, while others descended under the earth, leaving you, our children, upon the surface to struggle upward, from savagery to civilization, only to fall back into barbarism with each cyclic return of the cosmic nemesis. With the scientific advancements of your third age, you might have saved your culture, but you seared the planet with atomic fire and sank into brutish ignorance even before the Dark Star returned to bring on the Great Flood. Now, once again, the doom comes soon upon you. You have 6 of your years left to save your civilization. This living rock book and its prophecy is our last gift to you. Read it carefully and heed it well. Ors ayoiviei naiso kapamali amema yalasa pujo yala pregi. Ozandangan koraxo pilsen olpiret do peregi Wohimges jaks od ors Merrick Kauski. Bainapar, Zonimibe Pujo, U Anan Molap Uniglag. Paragil Zatabges, Orocha Kauski, Kwa Telua.
Now, open the gate.
The gate. It's opening.
What do you see?
I see the Guardian. I don't know him, but he knows me.
What did you see, Bill? Bill?
Why don't you take a look for yourself? I lowered the intensity on the scalar wave. It was set too high.
Then why don't you try it?
Someone has to monitor the machine, my dear.
Sister Lilith, put on those glasses.
You can't. You wouldn't.
Oh, I can. And I will.
Tomorrow morning, the entrance to this cavern will be sealed behind tons of rock. Anyone still inside, dead or alive, will be entombed forever.
Now, put on those glasses.
O great spirit of this holy place, great ancestor of us all, come unto us, thy children, and grant unto us a vision of glory and an oracle of wisdom. We call thee from the distant ages past and future lives unborn.
You sought a Lemurian temple inside this holy mountain, and you have succeeded in your quest. For you are the mother and the daughter of the earth, and the mountain the pinnacle of your fulfillment. Here are collected all your memories of ages long gone by, and of previous lifetimes in the paradise you call Lemuria. We were the first civilization in that distant age, before the poles shifted and the earth tilted in its axis, leaving our Garden of Eden into a frozen wasteland. Before the cataclysm, in the eternal springtime of the Golden Age, we had no need for machines. We lived much like your South Sea Islanders before the white man came with his whiskey, his Bible, and his guns. We use the forces of nature through the power of our minds to erect great temples of stone, with no tools or blueprints and without any more effort than it takes for a child to climb a tree. We loved our mates and children deeply, but had no concept of marriage and family as you know it. We went about naked and gloried in our nakedness. We were vegetarians and shared our few possessions in common. We had no word for murder, and war was unthinkable. With our superb mental control over our bodies, illness was virtually unknown, and death was seen as the beginning of a wonderful new life. Everything changed for us when the poles shifted. Most of us did not survive, but in the memories of our enlightened descendants, our traditions live on. You are one of us. That is why you are here. I shall awaken the jewels of your body of light, and you will remember Lemuria. But you should know that there were those Lemurians that survived the ancient cataclysm by hiding in caverns deep under the earth. And after thousands of years of lurking in the darkness, they devolved into evil creatures called Deros. You are of our blood, but so are they. Beware of the Deros.
They're jammed. It's going up. I can't stop it. I built this machine from Nodescu's plans. What the hell is the matter with this damn thing?
Look at your wristwatch, Doctor.
What has that got to do with it?
What time do you have?
Oh, come on. It can't be that late.
You mean it can't be that early? Look at the date.
Sunday? Oh, my God. We can't lose 14 hours.
Fire in the hole! Fire in the hole!
Stop!
Fire in the
Stop!
hole!
We're still in here.
Where is Colonel Rich?
Stop! Stop! We're still in here. Stop! We're still in here! Stop! Oh, my God!
I hope you weren't expecting Satan himself. You are really not that important.
Where is Dr. X?
He's on the other side of the vortex, buried under several tons of rock. Quite dead, I'm afraid.
Colonel Rich, what happened to him?
As they say in his curious profession, you don't need to know.
What's our story on the people you took into the cave with you, Colonel?
I don't recall taking anyone into that cave.
I didn't ask that question then, did I?
No, I don't recall that you did. Carry on.
Thou art every dying god and martyred avatar. Thou art Osiris, Adonis, Attis, and Tomots. Thou art the master. Aboromento, who granteth salvation unto the blindest of our souls. Thou art the Alpha and Omega. Thou declarest the living light within us all.
Are you really the Lord?
I am, and wherever you are, there am I also. For is it not written that you shall do even greater miracles than those I performed? And is it not likewise given that you yourselves are gods?
Can you grant me salvation?
A better question would be, can you grant yourself salvation? For when you see the light shining in your own breast, and you help others to find that same light within themselves, you become one with the eternal light that shines within us all.
You mean by witnessing, I can hasten the second coming. I can be born again and help bring forth the apocalypse.
Is it not written that no man may know the hour of my return? I say to you that the second coming and being born again are one in the same, and they are within you alone. For is it not also given that the kingdom of God is within you? And thus the day of judgment comes to each in his own time. I am within you alone. I am within all men and all women in equal measure, but in each I am alone. I am the servant, and you are the Lord, if you only knew it.
But these witches, these pagans, these queers and lesbians, these abortionists, they're blasphemers. How can you be within them?
It is written, judge not, lest ye yourself be judged. It is also given that you can blaspheme the Father, you can blaspheme the Son of Man, but you dare not blaspheme the Holy Spirit within yourself, for only then are you surely damned.
Then you mean these pagans, these perverts, these heretics are all saved?
All paths up the holy mountain lead to the same summit. Whosoever shall find the light within, following whatever path he chooses, so long as it is an upward path of love and light, shall have life everlasting. And were it not so, I would not have told you.
I think I understand. I think I understand.
We thank thee, great spirit of the holy mountain.
Other members of the expedition were expendable. I'm the only one you have to deal with.
You forget where you are. I don't have to deal with any human being. But out of courtesy, I will explain your situation. You have read the Book of the Damned by Charles Fort. As you recall, after he had collected all the strange anomalies, his logic and his reason led him to only one conclusion, that the people of Earth were someone else's property. Now you know who your owners are.
But that is only if we choose your path.
Yes, but you discovered that secret too late.
In our world, you need agents. My Draconians will serve you well.
Now, they are our Draconians.
But I'm the Grand Master.
We had a younger man in mind for that position. Look behind you, Abaddon.
O great spirit of this holy place, great ancestor of us all, We call thee in the name of the Archangel Raphael in the solar sphere of Tiferet.
You seek to understand why such mountains as this are sacred and holy. As the master Hermes Trismegistus, I taught you that man is a microcosm of the greater universe. As a student of our Hermetic master Philos, you learned that you have all the planets of your solar system living within you. But you are closest to Mother Earth. She is the greatest planetary presence within your spiritual body. So when you climb a sacred mountain in a spiritual state of mind, you are ascending the heights of your own planetary sphere. You become one with the Earth as she reaches to the heavens. In Kabbalistic terms, you are aspiring to Kether of Malkuth. If you wonder why we have myths and legends of mysterious temples that appear on sacred mountains and strange creatures that inhabit the caverns beneath them, you might ask yourself, how far does this microcosmic universe within yourself extend? How many previous lifetimes have you lived on this planet? And how many other dimensions are you living in right now? We see an endless march of worlds going on beyond our conception, and yet this is only one dimension that we perceive. There is an invisible infinity of parallel and adjacent universes just outside our limited perception. Our shadows and reflections live and die behind dark curtains that most men never part except in dreams. And this whole vast, interconnected multiverse belongs to each one of us alone. We are the masters of our own personal cosmic infinity, where life imitates art and art imitates life. And everything in creation is a metaphor. You carry heaven and hell in your own pocket. As above, so below. As within, so without. In our philosophy, these other dimensions are considered to be levels of reality. There are many sub-levels and super-levels, but three essential realities include them all. Your personal reality, your shared reality, and the ultimate reality. To resolve these three realities into one, you must find that still, silent center point within yourself, where the veiled light we call God resides. You will find God nowhere else. Uncover that light and let it shine forth from within you, for that light is the ultimate reality. It transforms your personal reality and illuminates your shared reality. To one who is illuminated, all others are reflections and aspects of himself. This is the one source of his compassion and the true measure of his morality. However, I must leave you with a warning. Wisdom and immortality are the treasures of enlightenment, but no one else can give you that which is yours to find within yourself. No one else can make the decisions for you. Good and evil are for you alone to define. In darkness you may find the light, or beyond the light you may discover darkness. For in truth you cannot have one without the other. The choice must always be yours.
Time to retire, Venerable.
You, young upstart, I'm Grand Master for life. Give me back that staff right now.
For life? Well, in that case...
Congratulations, my boy. You have a dark future ahead of you.
What about Sister Lilith?
We'll give her exactly what she wanted.
Please help me.
Sister Lilith is dead.
Ah, but she died in ecstasy. You know that boiling lobsters alive in wine improves the taste. I hope you're not a vegetarian. Bon appetit.
We thank thee, great spirit of the holy mountain. We thank you, great avatars of the ages. We are blessed and comforted by your wisdom and inspiration. Come, brothers and sister, let us form a circle of mystic fellowship. Come join us, brother.
The Lord has told me that you folks are seeking His light. and that I should join with you to find it within yourselves. Yes, I will join you, and God willing, we'll all be saved.
Brother Bobby John, those are the most wonderful words I've heard today. Come, take my hand. Holy art thou, Lord of the universe. Holy art thou, whom nature hath not formed. Holy art thou, the vast and the mighty one, Lord of the light and of the darkness.